Okay, so I did my extra credit poster on the respiratory system. Sorry, it's hard to say that. But anyways, here's my poster, and start over here. So if you zoom in over here, it says that the respiratory system is made up of the following. It's made up of the nose, the mouth, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, lungs, bronchioles, and alluvials. So pretty much it starts at the nasal cavity, and it goes all the way down the esophagus, and it goes down your whole throat, and then it's going to be your lungs, and the whole purpose of this is for the passing of air, from the air going from the outside air that we breathe in and converting it into oxygen that the body can use and getting rid of the CO2. It releases the carbon dioxide back into the space outside of us, outside of our body, and we take in the oxygen. And mostly the carbon dioxide that we exhale is used for plants and trees and stuff like that, so that they create the oxygen for us to breathe back in, and that is what the respiratory system does. The Edamame is starts at the nose, like I said, and then it goes all the way down, takes in the air. That's the first site that takes in air, and where air is released from the body. From the nose, it travels down to the mouth, and then from the mouth, the oxygen traces down to the pharynx. From the pharynx, the oxygen travels further down the system, and the larynx, or the voice box, is just another word for the larynx, is the voice box. So it travels after the voice box. It goes down to the trachea, which is also called the windpipe, and then from there it goes into the lungs, where then it is then processed, I guess you could say, and filtered, and then we breathe out the carbon dioxide. So there's inside of the lungs there is little, like, sacs, I guess you can say, and they're called the alluvias, and that's where the air is transferred. And then from there, another part of the respiratory system is the breathing, of course, and then also our voice. Our voice is part of the respiratory system, and it's that. It's just another use of the system. Some major disorders are asthma. Asthma is caused from it's a disease that the lungs have, which attacks the disease, which causes, or attacks the lungs, I'm sorry, and it causes shortness of breath, wheezing, and it is triggered. It depends on the person. It can be triggered from cold air, and for example, exercising when it's cold, and that can trigger the asthma. It could also be triggered from warm air. It just depends on the person. Asthma is very big in the Central Valley, as we have a lot of pollution and pollen, and we're pretty much in a bowl, so everything comes and settles down here, so we have a lot of problems with pollen and pollution and stuff like that. Another disorder is going to be lung cancer. Lung cancer is, the main cause for lung cancer is smoking tobacco products. It is the most common cancer, as the lungs are very open to outside particles and bacteria, as they have to take in all the air. So if you are around a lot of dust, or if you're around a lot of gases and things like that, your lungs have a better chance of getting lung cancer. But lung cancer is the most common lung cancer that is occurring in humans as of now. The tobacco products play a big role because tobacco will actually affect the lungs and hurt them, and it causes less air to be able to be breathed in, and it also doesn't fill it up as much. Your lungs don't get as much air. Sorry about that. The cancer can spread also. The cancer can get out of the lungs, and the cancer can go into other places, causing other tumors around the body. And it can cause other tumors around the body and things like that. The reason I picked the respiratory system out of all the systems is that it has multiple functions. So it's in charge of your breathing. It's in charge of breathing. It's in charge of your voice, and it's also the most unprotected system that the body has. You know, you can breathe in anything pretty much, and it can affect your lungs in a good way or in a bad way. But at the end of the day, it is one of the most least protected areas of the body, and that's what really made it cool to me, is for that reason. So let's see, the interesting facts is over here. See if I can actually pull it over here. Okay. So the facts of it are going to be right here, and another interesting facts is that just from smoking, it has such a big effect on the lungs, and it causes the lungs to actually kind of shrivel up. And if you look at a smoker's lung, it's actually more of a brownish, blackish, other than a healthy lung. And a healthy lung is more of a pinkish, reddish, very almost like a chicken breast, I guess you could say. And a smoker's lung is smaller and shriveled up and can't take in as much air, which causes the shortness of breath and the coughing, and it can't filter air as much and stuff like that. It also has a lot of power over other body functions and other organ systems. If you're not taking in a lot of air, it can affect the heart, as the heart now doesn't have as much air in the blood, and it causes more oxygen, or the heart to work a little harder. It can affect your muscles, as your muscles don't get the right amount of oxygen that they need. And also, if your lungs aren't really taking out all the CO2 that you inhale, you can get CO2 in your body, and that is also not good. But the main goal of the respiratory system is to transfer oxygen from the air that we breathe to the blood in our body. Due to our air being dirty with bacteria, dust, and pollution, it makes the respiratory system work extra hard to fight off these infections, as the outside bacteria and pollution makes it into our body through the oxygen we breathe in from the mouth, as there's no filter from that. And the respiratory system, in short, wants to gain oxygen from around us, from the outside area, and it wants to release carbon dioxide back into the environment and not into our bodies, as too much carbon dioxide can be very poisonous to our body and cause a lot of harm and other effects on our body that we do not want. We cannot live without oxygen and carbon dioxide, but the big thing for carbon dioxide is putting it back into the environment so that the trees and other plants can suck it back up, and then they can reduce or reuse that carbon dioxide to produce oxygen, which we can breathe in, which creates the cycle of the gases that we breathe in and that we exhale. But yeah, in conclusion, the respiratory system starts at the mouth, the nasal cavity, and the mouth, and it runs all the way down our throats, going through multiple different structures that either filter or move the air along down into our lungs, which at our lungs has many different things in the lungs, like the bronchioles and the alluvial, and it filters the air, which we breathe in, making it work more effectively, and then it pushes out the carbon dioxide, and like I said before, it creates that cycle of gases that we need to survive. And that is my extra credit organ system poster. Thank you.